Hello third graders, and welcome back to our learning YouTube channel. This is going to be our writing lesson for the week. This video is going to go to my class, it's going to go to Miss Mortenson's class and to Mrs. Simm's class. So welcome other third graders who I have not had the chance to teach yet this year. So happy you're here watching this video. In this video, we're going to go over our learning target and success criteria. We're going to go over what it means to write an informational paragraph. And I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to create your own graphic organizer to help you plan your informational paragraph. While we're planning, it's really important to make sure that we're including all the things we already know go into an informational paragraph. If you are watching this video and you have not watched Mrs. Simm's video yet, I would go ahead and stop, go back to Mrs. Simm's video and watch her reading lesson first. In her reading lesson, she reads the text that we're going to be writing about and talks about what the main idea might be and what some key details might be. There are two ways you can get text evidence. You can access this text. One is you can log into Clever. You can click on Myon and search the word Invertabrates, and the book that we're reading should pop right up for you. Option number two is you go back to Ms. Simm's video, you watch her read it, you can pause the screen, you can see the page numbers in the corner, and you can see the text on her video. So those are two ways you can get access to the text. So you can listen to her read it, you can think of what your main idea and key details are, and you can find your text evidence. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna switch to our document camera. We're going to look at our learning target, success criteria. We're gonna look at what we're requiring for our informational paragraph, and I'm gonna give you some tips on how to plan. So let's get started. All right, third graders. We are going to go ahead and start with our learning target. So our learning target today says, go ahead and read it along with me. I will plan, draft, edit, revise, and publish an informational paragraph. So I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to think about those important words. I've color-coded them to help us think about them. We're going to plan. When we plan, we use kind of a graphic organizer. So we plan each sentence. So I'm going to draw what those little rectangles kind of look like on our paper. We're going to draft. Draft is our first try. So I'm going to put number 1. We're going to edit and revise. When we edit and revise, we make the changes that we need to make. Okay. So I'm going to say fix and change. So anything you might need to fix or change that might not make sense, anything that might not be correct needs to be fixed. Or maybe even adding something to make it more interesting. And we're going to publish. When we publish, it's our final copy. That means it's ready for people to read. Everything is correct. We've used words that will make it interesting for our reader. And we're going to remember that today we're writing an informational paragraph. An informational paragraph is a paragraph that helps your reader learn something. Okay? So in our case, we read a book about invertebrates. So we are going to teach our reader about invertebrates. What did we learn, and what was the main idea of that text we read? Okay. Our success criteria says, I created an informational paragraph that has a topic sentence, 2 details with text evidence and a conclusion, 3 vivid words, and 3 transition words. So I'm going to circle or underline right here, informational paragraph. Remember, that means our reader is going to learn something from our paragraph. It's going to have a topic sentence. Our topic sentence, I want you to think, do you remember what that is? I'll go over that in detail in just a moment. It's going to have 2 details. That's if you want to earn a 3. If you'd like to earn a 4, you could have 3 details or 4 details. Okay? And each detail needs to come with text evidence. And at the end, we're going to have a conclusion. We're going to use 3 vivid words. Remember, a vivid word is a word that makes a picture in your head. Vivid words help us describe what we're seeing. So it could be what something smells like, looks like, tastes like, feels like. Okay? Any sort of adjective would count as a vivid word here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to have 3 transition words. Remember, our transition words are words like first, second, next, then, also. Okay, all of those are examples of transition words. And the purpose of a transition word is to help us connect our sentences and ideas so that our paragraph flows and makes sense. So, we're going to go over one more time the things you need to have. You need to have an informational paragraph that's included a topic sentence with 2 details, with text evidence, and a conclusion, 3 vivid words that will help you describe the invertebrates, and 3 transition words to help connect your ideas. Like first, second, next, then, also are all great examples. So we're going to quickly go over what goes into an informational paragraph. Okay? There's a couple different parts to an informational paragraph. Okay? For example, the first thing we need to know is the purpose of an informational paragraph. An informational paragraph teaches your reader something. So when your reader is done reading your paragraph, they will have learned something new. The first sentence that goes into your informational paragraph is a topic sentence. A topic sentence tells your reader what your paragraph is about. Okay? Then you'll have a detail. You're going to give the reader the first piece of information. Okay? And then we're going to have an explain, where you give some more information about your detail and add your text evidence. I've drawn an arrow here to help remind you that this first detail and this first explain go together. In these 2 sentences, you're talking about the same piece of information. Next, you're going to share another detail. So give the reader your second piece of information. Then you're going to give some text evidence with a little bit more information about that fact. Okay? So I'm drawing this line here again to remind you, these sentences are talking about the same thing. Okay? So here you'll have your first fact about invertebrates. Here you'll have your second fact. Okay? And then after that, we'll do our conclusion. So in our conclusion, we'll tell our reader what our paragraph was about. This is what you need to include if you are going to earn a 3. Okay? If we were giving this a grade, if you wanted to earn a 4 or go above and beyond, you could add a 3rd detail and a 3rd piece of text evidence. Okay? So the very minimum, our paragraph should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences long. Okay? As we're planning our informational paragraph, I can't give you guys a graphic organizer, unfortunately, because you guys aren't here with me. So I'm going to teach you right now how we can make our own graphic organizer to help us write an informational paragraph. Okay? We're going to start by making a square for our topic sentence. Okay? So I'm just going to make a rectangle on a piece of lined paper. If you have a notebook, you could do this in a notebook. If you have a piece of construction paper you can use, that's great. A plain white piece of paper works. The back of a piece of mail, anything you can find works just fine. This first sentence is going to be our topic sentence. So it will tell our readers what our informational paragraph is about. Our informational paragraph is going to be about the text Miss Simm read, which was about invertebrates. And we learned, I remember from the text, that invertebrates are animals that do not have a spine or a backbone. So, I think that the main idea of the text was about invertebrates. We learned about all sorts of different kinds. Okay? So we're going to remember that as we start writing. So, the next thing we need to do is we need to make a box for our first detail. So I'm going to use orange because that's what we use to mark our details. I'm making it about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines long. You can make it more or less if you'd like. I'm just doing it big enough to write a sentence and make some changes if I need to. Okay, so this will be our first detail. And if you don't have colors for this, that's totally fine. You can do this with just a pen or a pencil, and that is no big deal. And after our detail, we'll add a box for our explain or our text evidence. Okay. And that's the first 3 sentences of our paragraph. And now, oh, I can't flip that over because my markers are kind of dark. I'm going to get a second piece of paper to make some boxes for the last 3 sentences in our paragraph. So while I'm doing this, I want you to think, what are the last 3 sentences in our paragraph going to be? I have a topic sentence, detail, explain, and the next thing I'm going to add is another box for a detail. So you're going to share your second piece of information that we learned in that book about invertebrates. Okay. And remember, you can do more than this if you like. If you want to kind of go above and beyond and push yourself to write a bigger paragraph, you are more than welcome to do that. And here is my box for my next explain or piece of text evidence. And at the end, I'll make one more green box for our conclusion. So all you need to do this is 2 pieces of paper or 1 piece of paper front and back. Okay. So here will be our conclusion. Okay. So while I help you out, 3rd graders, I'm going to help with our topic sentence. I'll write a topic sentence that we can all use, or you could change it together. And I'll give you a couple sentence starters to get you started on the other sentences in our paragraph. So my topic sentence needs to tell my reader what my paragraph is about. Today I'm writing an informational paragraph about invertebrates. So I'm going to think about the book that we read. And I want to include that in my writing so they know what I'm referencing. So I'm going to say, the main idea of the text invertebrates and I'm putting it in quotation marks because that's what we do with the name of a book. You could also underline it so we know that we're talking here about the name of the text. So the main idea of the text invertebrates is information about animals with no backbone. So this sentence right here isn't the most interesting sentence in the world. There's not really any vivid words. I wonder, it sounds kind of clunky when I read it back, but that's okay for me right now because this is just my plan. This is just what I think I'm going to write about in that topic sentence. So when I write my first draft, if I want to change this sentence, that is totally okay. And if not, I can change it when I edit and revise. So this is the topic sentence I'm going to stick with for now. If you'd like to add to it, make it a little bit fancier, you're more than welcome to do that. And when I edit and revise my paragraph, I'm probably going to change the sentence up a little bit too. Okay. So next we're going to be thinking about our details. So I'm not going to give you the details. I'm going to make you go back to that video and remember what were the details about invertebrates, but I'm going to give you a sentence starter. So the first interesting thing, or you could say key detail. What should we say? Interesting thing or key detail? I think I'm going to say interesting thing. If you'd like to write key detail here instead, you're more than welcome to, because that's what it is. It is a key detail. The first interesting fact about invertebrates is, and you can decide what that fact will be for you to finish that sentence. I want you to notice right now that I used a transition word while I was writing this sentence. I used the word first. So that counts as one of my transition words that I need to have when I'm finished. Okay. And after that, I'm going to write a detail. Or an explain, sorry. I'm going to give the text evidence. So again, I'm not going to give you the text evidence because I don't know what your fact will be. But remember, this text evidence matches with this detail. They go together. Okay? So I'm going to say, I know this because on page blank, you can figure out what page it is. It says, and then we can go blank. If you'd like to do a direct quote there, you could do a comma and quotations from the book to show exactly the words that it said in that text to give your text evidence. Then we're going to go to our next page. I already made this planning sheet, so now it's really easy for me to think about what my details and text evidence will be. So for the next one, same thing. I could write the second, amazing, I'm using a different word here, and this here could count as a vivid word, amazing. Second amazing fact, and there's another transition word, about invertebrates is and I will write that fact there. And again, on the explain, we'll write on page blank. So I'll look at what my text evidence is. It says blank. And we can use quotations if we're doing a direct quote. Okay. And the last thing we'll do is we'll write a conclusion sentence to remind our readers what our paragraph was about. So I'm going to say, I'm changing my topic sentence just a little bit. In the past, we've just copied our topic sentence, but we're going to change it up a little bit to make sure we're really closing out our paragraph. So I'm going to say, these are some incredible facts about invertebrates. Or animals with no spine. Okay? And that's my plan. So I hope that you are drawing this out and you are going to create your own plan. You are more than welcome to borrow my sentence starters. You can pause the video to copy those down. You're more than welcome to borrow my topic sentence. And this is how we're going to complete our plan. Thank you again, third graders, for planning your paragraph with me. This is day one. Day one, we are going to plan our paragraph. You can use the strategy I showed you. You can write it on a piece of paper and start planning. The next step is tomorrow, or maybe today if you're working a little bit quicker, you're gonna go ahead and write your rough draft. On our rough draft, usually we skip lines. As a reminder, after that, we're gonna edit and revise. So you're going to see if there's anything you need to add or change. You're going to see if there's any words that maybe need to be fixed. Maybe if you need to add a comma. Do you have your text evidence? Did you use quotation marks correctly? You're going to make sure that it is ready for somebody else to read. The last step you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and publish your informational paragraph. Once your informational paragraph is published, that means you've written it without skipping lines. You've used your very neatest handwriting. You have text evidence, you have favorite words, you have transition words. Then my challenge to you is to take your informational paragraph and show it to someone in your house. It could be older brother, older sister, younger sister. It could be mom, dad, aunt, uncle, any adult, or maybe a sibling that you have living in your house you could show your paragraph to. So you could teach them about invertebrates as well. Thank you again for your hard work. If you have any questions while you're working on this writing, you know you can always ask me, Miss Simm or Miss Mortensen. We are so happy to help you. I wish you the best of luck. Happy writing.